Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to my overview on all of the Monk updates coming to 14 in Dawntrail. I was recently given the opportunity to try the expansion out early at the North American Media Tour, and that includes checking out all the job changes. So be sure to look at all of those other changes in the playlist in the description of the video when you're done with this one. Quick disclaimer, reminder that all of this is still in development, so all the potencies, effects, everything, still subject to change. So don't be surprised if anything's different come the release of Dawntrail. Now, Monk's been kind of reworked in Dawntrail. Functionally, it will still feel quite similar to what you were doing before, but the effects of many abilities have changed, and the flow of your combos will be somewhat altered because of this. Twin Snakes no longer gives you a damage buff, and Demolish no longer applies a dot. Instead, you have a new Fury gauge. Upon using Dragon Kick, Twin Snakes, and Demolish, you generate 1 stack of Opos Fury, 2 stacks of Raptor's Fury, and 3 stacks of Coeurl's Fury, respectively. These buffs cause their stance-associated counterparts to become stronger, Boot Shine, True Strike, and Snap Punch, respectively. Each use of an empowered skill consumes 1 Fury from its respective stance, so Boot Shine would consume 1 Opos Fury, True Strike 1 Raptor's Fury, and Snap Punch 1 Coeurl's Fury. This means you only use Dragon Kick once every other rotation, Twin Snakes once every 3 rotations, and Demolish once every 4 rotations, just to refresh your Fury gauge. It's a fairly simple process to follow once you get used to it, and will still somewhat resemble the old buff maintenance rotation close enough, just without any timers. The Fury gauge also has no interaction with your AoE at all, so you'll just be AoEing like normal during dungeons and whatnot. And with all the buff maintenance gone, it is finally time we bid farewell to a Knotman. Can't say that you'll be missed, pal. Now, several other skills have also been reworked. Six-Sided Star's potency now scales with the number of chakras you have, with 80 potency per chakra. While I'm sure some people might be thinking, oh, I should use that as a finisher during my buffs, the intent definitely seems to be to simply make it easier to dump gauge before a downtime phase or right before a monster dies. Speaking of chakra, Brotherhood now allows you to generate up to 10 chakras while it is active, helping with the major overcapping problem monks have during their burst. These bonus chakras do work on Six-Sided Star as well, but again, I think that the math works out in such a way that you don't want to use Six-Sided Star during burst. Remember, it does have that long recast time after the fact. If a fight ends in the middle of a 2-minute window, though, it can burn these extras. Now, Brotherhood also lasts 20 seconds now, up from 15 in Endwalker, giving you a couple of more buff GCDs, and that's going to be important when you hit level 100. On the chakra front again, meditation now changes to enlightened meditation after you unlock enlightenment. It's not a functional change in any way, but figured I'd mention it. Finally, for existing skill reworks, Riddle of Earth has been given a bonus effect. It still grants damage reduction and still gives you Earth's Resolve upon being hit, granting you the regen you're used to. However, Riddle of Earth now also grants Earth's Rumination for 30 seconds after you've been hit. This changes the button into Earth's Reply, an AoE heal. It's 300 potency normally, but if you're under the effect of that regen in Earth's Resolve, the potency is bumped up to 500. Yes, Monk just got an AoE heal. I'm so sorry, Dragoons. Now, for post-level 90 stuff, it gets a lot simpler to talk about. First are some pretty standard changes that most of the melee got from 90 to 100. At level 94, you get Enhanced Second Wind, bumping the potency up to 800. You also get Melee Mastery 2 at that level, upping the potency of your Fury Generating combo. Then at level 98, you get Enhanced Feint, increasing the debuff's duration to 15 seconds. The rest of the updates add new animations or follow-ups to existing skills. At level 92, they get Beast Chakra Mastery, updating your Fury-empowered skills, and Elixir Field to new versions. Boot Shine becomes Leaping Oppo, True Strike becomes Rising Raptor, Snap Punch becomes Pouncing Coeurl, and Elixir Field becomes Elixir Burst. Same effects, just new animations and higher potencies. At level 96, you get Enhanced Riddle of Wind. This causes Riddle of Wind to grant the Wind's Rumination buff for 30 seconds after use. The ability then transforms into Wind's Reply, a 900 potency line AoE with no falloff. Wind's Reply is also a GCD skill, so it's going to eat some of your buff window GCD real estate, which we'll talk about in a little bit. However, since the buff lasts 30 seconds, meaning you have 30 seconds before you shoot this AoE, I'm guessing that if you use Riddle of Wind at the 90-second mark, which would be 30 seconds before buffs, then you could save it for the buff window. You could delay Riddle of Wind just a little bit each time, and then you would actually have it going into buffs. Actually, just from the activation of when you activate it in the opener, you might be able to swing that. So that might be the play, is that even when you access Riddle of Wind on off buffs, you still get the big nuke during buffs. So that's kind of cool. At level 100, you get a similar update with Enhanced Riddle of Fire. This grants Fire's Rumination for 30 seconds, which allows access to Fire's Reply. This is a 1300 potency line AoE with a 50% fall off after the first target. It also grants Formless Fist after the activation, so you can go into whatever stance you want to afterwards. This is also a GCD skill, so that's 2 new GCDs you need to fit into buffs. Now, for my thoughts, I'm a monk lover. I played the job on and off literally since its inception. Heck, my original artwork for the channel included me as a monk. I think the update to the buff management feels okay here. The general flow of the job is still similar, and the new animations are really good. The quality of life on things like Brotherhood, getting an AoE heal with Earth's Reply, and Anatman finally being gone, are all solid changes and additions, on top of some of the other stuff we talked about. However, I don't yet know how I feel about Wind and Fire's Reply being GCDs in particular. On one hand, I do think it gives a bit more direction to the burst window. Since the buff window is pretty much a universal 20 seconds across most jobs now, Monk has a little bit of time to throw these in at the end, after their usual blitz shenanigans. I mean, Fire's Reply granting Formless Fist pretty much informs you that it wants you to be doing just that. There's also kind of filling the void of that final Demolish reactivation from the old rotation, and I guess also the Twin Snakes reapplication as well. Them being GCDs also leaves room open to track your forbidden chakras more efficiently. You know, they don't want to give you 2 more OGCDs while you're worrying about chakras, even with the overcapping that's now available. It just kind of feels weird, you know, like when I was using it, like a common sense told me, oh yeah, those would be OGCDs because the skills that activated them were OGCDs. But across other jobs, they do something pretty similar here in Dawntrail. So it wasn't really that surprising. I think it was really just, I didn't spend a lot of time. You know, I had a lot to do and I only had several hours to do it at the media tour. So I never really took the time to get engaged with it, really get a feel for it. Heck, I was fighting with the latency that we had most of the time, and Monk being the fast job it is, that was scaring me more than anything. But I'm mostly curious about how the Wind's Reply bit, where you use it outside of buffs, but then you get to use the nuke inside of buffs, how that actually affects your 2-minute window whenever it's like, so at the 2-minute mark, you know, you would have used Riddle of Wind 30 seconds earlier, which means you'd have Wind's Reply. How does that affect the 2-minute buff versus the 0-minute versus the 3-minute versus the 4? Like, I'm just trying to think about how all of that lines up now, because that's really the only thing that I would need to sit down and really think about. But I've got a ton of videos still to crank out, so I'm gonna let the Monk experts start doing that work while I get just all the information out to all of you. Anyway, that is going to be a wrap for my video on the Monk changes coming in Dawntrail. Be sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to check out all those other videos in the playlist in the description. I will see all of you in the next one, and until then, take care.